Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hello, and welcome to a dreary, rainy day here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It is June 7th, 2022. It is a Tuesday, which means I think my sister Susan's on the line.
I am.
Oh, God, there was like a slight millisecond pregnant pause there where you scared me. Hi. I'm sorry I missed your FaceTime thing. By the time I saw that, I was afraid it was too late to call back.
Well, so. Okay. It's okay. It probably was, but anyway.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
Susan and I have been, I call her when she can't talk. She calls me when I'm not with my phone. And yeah, that's the way that goes. But remember not that long ago, because we're old, that there wasn't this assumption that you could talk to people when you wanted to talk to them, right?
Right.
I mean, communication was just not as instantaneous as it is now, and now it was probably better before. I mean, we didn't know that there was an alternative, so we were more, loose about it, more patient, not. But now that we know it can be instantaneous, we get all bent out of shape when we can't reach somebody.
Well, some of us do. I just think in my head, well, you tried.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I will check that one off. I did it. I had been looking, this is a case in point, kind of. I'd been looking forward to a Zoom meeting, which in and of itself isn't a strange thing to say. But I had been looking forward to a Zoom meeting last week. And I won't go into who it was or why, but I mean, really, it took a while getting it together because it was 4 very busy women. And it was something that was of great interest to me. And well, let's just say I was sitting outside in my backyard late afternoon, and my son shows up, which is most surprising. Lynn Cullen, he says, as he's wont to, rather than mother or mom. Does anyone call their mother anymore?
I do.
We do. I know, but I think we're very odd about that. But I don't know. And I mean, my kid calls me Lynn Cullen.
Right. I mean, and he calls her Lynn Cullen, not Lynn. He calls her Lynn Cullen. Lynn Cullen. Lynn Cullen.
That's right. Just to annoy me. It's like an ongoing joke. But there he is. I'm shocked. Lynn Cullen, he says. I said, what? He said, he tells me that a friend of mine has called him, which is a first, and had asked him to run over here to make sure I wasn't dead.
I'm so glad it wasn't me.
And this is how out of it I am. Because when he said the friend's name, I said, well, what? And he said, you had a Zoom meeting. Oh, the minute he said that, I mean, the embarrassment, the horror, the humiliation, I had totally missed this Zoom meeting, which I had been so looking forward to. And the 3 other women had held it without me. But one of them was throughout the meeting thinking, why is she not? Because she was texting me and trying desperately to get to me, knowing and getting no response. So.
And you just, I do that all the time.
It's awesome.
I now have to say, I have to put on reminders a week, 5 weeks, 10 weeks, and then 5 minutes, because I'll forget in 5 minutes.
Yeah, right. Oh my God, did I feel like an old idiot.
That's how I'm always late calling in for this.
Yeah, I know, it's horrible. This was particularly unbelievable. Unbelievable. And apparently my son tells me, who he thought this whole thing was a riot. He told me that when she called, he said to her, well, I forgot I had to take him out to pick up his car, which had been, out of order. And that is actually the reason my whole day got all mixed up and
because you were unexpectedly hanging out with
unexpectedly
your son.
Yes, exactly. So right. So he had said to her, well, I was just with her about an hour ago and she was very much alive. And he said, but I'll go check. And he said that after he told her that I was very much alive an hour ago, on the way over here, he started to get nervous.
Well, she could have died in the last hour.
Yeah, I know. My God. Oh, dear God. I'm going to find her dead. So he was very relieved when Lynn Cullen was found sitting out in her backyard reading a book. Gosh.
That's why I always figure you're just hanging out someplace, and can't be bothered. Totally.
Well, I don't carry my phone around like everybody does. I just don't always have it. I think when you called yesterday, I was actually outside and I did not have my phone with me.
I figured that's where you were.
Mulching.
Yeah. I mean, so I didn't know. I don't, okay. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Call me a bad sister, but I don't panic.
Good. No, that's fine. I don't want you thinking I'm dead. Honest to Pete. But that is where we go now. Well, I mean, and my friend in her, she said, well, we know you're having this, surgical procedure this week. And that is why I thought, oh my God, something might have happened, since things can happen. Okay, we'll stop.
Jeez.
We'll stop this. Wait, I'm sorry. I wasn't even going to talk about it. Why did that come up? I don't know.
I have no idea.
I'm in a bit of a general state. So you're aware that our this important Senate race we've got going here, that our candidate, John Fetterman.
Yeah, he has like a rather serious heart issue that he's trying to pretend doesn't exist.
No, he's not pretending anymore. He's come out and admitted, what is it called? I mean, it's a precursor to heart failure.
Right.
His heart muscle is not working as it should. And clearly the stroke was a little bit more intense than it was. And his wife, apparently in an interview with CNN yesterday, said that he's not going to be out and about probably until perhaps July. Okay. So, this is expected to be the most expensive, the most watched Senate race in the country. John Fetterman versus Dr. Effin Oz.
This isn't right. I mean, if he's not up to it, you had 3 really good Senate candidates, and he should just back out now and let one of the other able-bodied, qualified candidates conduct a proper race.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't agree. I think we got to secure the seat. We got to win this. and I think still he's the most capable.
Okay, well then, if you think you can still do it,
I don't know. Well, and here's the thing. I was thinking, okay, so let's say...
I'm just saying he can't dither. He's really got to be up to the task, or he's got to bow out now.
No, but let's think about it. I mean, you know, the way we conduct elections in this country, people just get so sick of the constant... And the fact is, who cares if he's not out there? And apparently, you know, they'll have commercials on.
Right.
I mean, what is anybody missing? The way we do, a debate?
No, nobody's missing anything, and it might just give Oz more time to make himself look more like a fool.
Oh God! So I don't know.
How does Pennsylvania end up with Dr. Oz? I mean, that is the collective idiocy in your state. Excuse the expression. It's just an outsider looking in.
Well, I know. He lives in fucking New Jersey.
I know. He doesn't even live there, guys. What part of that didn't you get?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore, obviously. You know, I don't know. I just give up. But I do think that the health issue and the somewhat lack of transparency around it initially is not helpful, and will, of course, be used by the good Dr. Oz. I mean, isn't he a cardiologist?
Something like that. I
think he might be. So he's going to be able to say, well, this, and I'm a doctor, and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if he's cardiologist.
Yeah, but I mean, if anybody's paid attention to Dr. Oz over the years, has watched him devolve into quackery. So
that's true. Well, but anyway, whatever. I have to tell you, I'm getting, and I'm sure I'm hardly alone. I'm getting so that I can hardly bear to think about the world in any way.
No, there's no place for your glance to fall on that doesn't cause anxiety, grief, and terror.
Yeah, this is absolutely correct. So I just want to, I feel like I want to apologize to people in the audience who are wanting me to talk about, specific things, because they are of incredible import, because there are so many of those things. And I am aware of them, but I just, wow. I did you see that this poll that says that almost half of Republicans think that one of the prices of having a free society is that we have got to accept these almost daily gun massacres?
Well, they see that's just yes, I'm not surprised by that, and it's just nonsense. When people stand there holding their AR-15 and despair, what can we do?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I mean, there's just too many people who have lost their capacity for coherent
rational thought, for being able to see that pile of guns in front of you might be the problem.
Yeah, just might be. I don't know.
Well, no,
So what's different? What's different about the United States? No other country.
Well, here's what's different about the United States. We have women here, and it turns out that women are the real problem. I mean, first we get abortions. First we tempt men. Then we get abortions. And that teaches that we have no, sense of sanctity for life. And then, or we're single mothers. And then we can't raise our sons and keep them under control. And they're the ones that do the mass shootings. But however you put it, it's women. It's women somehow creating or refusing to create or, just messing up in general those guys that then are compelled to go out and kill people. So I don't know what's so difficult about this, Lynn. Why would you look to the guns? when it's us. It's you and me, dear. We are the problem.
Well, it's more me because I was a single mom.
You were a single mom. Yes.
And I better get on my son. He has not committed a mass.
No, and he's well past the age where, it's
I don't know how he managed not to do that. That's.
I mean, I'm not even. You know, of course, I'm not making that up. Those are two lawmakers.
Yes, I did see one of. I think I saw some.
One's Missouri and one's Louisiana.
Yeah, I mean, the things they say are just, you can't even make it up. Who was that one? Oh, Gosar, who said something so funny the other day, saying something. It's getting to the point where a person, member of Congress, what did he say? A member of Congress can't lie or can't go under oath in a congressional hearing and lie. It's getting to the point.
What do you mean?
I mean, I'm not kidding. He said something like that. Can somebody find me the Gosar quote? Seriously, you would think, I know, Susan, he said, I know what I said makes
I haven't gotten to that page of the handbook. I didn't realize on page, there it is. On page 122, you have a perfect right to lie. It is your right.
No, and it's your job.
It's your job.
Member of it, yes, to lie under oath.
That's further down in the paragraph. Sorry, sis.
No, it is really. I'm not kidding you. There it is. I saw it. Why I didn't. It's again. This is where we're so inundated with this insanity that is loose in the land, that things that even 4 years ago would have made you stop dead in your tracks and just howl. You just go and keep moving. You don't even react.
No, you don't react. It's like, did you see who Marjorie Taylor Green's new intern is?
Yes, I did. What's his name?
I can't pronounce it. Milos someone or other. Milos Yana blah 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 blah.
Yeah, Yana Losolopoulos.
The Breitbart conversion therapy ex-gay guy.
Yeah. He's the new intern. Well, it's a match made in heaven. Did you see that she was saying in one quote? Here's another one I saw. I forget the exact context, but she was talking about, and it's just she was suggesting that something was like a petri dish of blah, 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 where things are just forming left, right, and center. Only she obviously didn't know what a petri dish is, because what she said and what she has thought that term is, she said peach tree.
I did see that.
Did you? I mean, come on. I mean, the stupidity, the idiocy, the God knows what. Help us.
Well, okay, so these things always remind me of good old Donnie Rumsfeld, may he be a blessed memory, when he says there are the known unknowns and the unknown unknowns.
No, yeah, something like that.
Something like that, but God. She doesn't even know what she doesn't know.
No. And
she thinks she knows it.
That's a true sign of an idiot. I mean, the true sign of a fool, an idiot. We have a caller. I want to let him in now. Hello.
Yeah, this is Clarence from Canonsburg.
Hey, Clarence.
Hi, Clarence from Canonsburg.
Hey, how you doing? You were talking about, the blaming women for all the problems. And I'm like, yeah, they tend to do that. And who was the actual problem? Look around. White guys.
Oh, no.
It's white guys. Yeah, no. I noticed that.
That's my line.
It's like we have a serious white guy problem in this country. It's this.
We do.
And it's not just the country; it's the world. Putin's a white guy.
Yep. Yep, he is.
Yeah, he's a white guy. Like I said, we got a serious white guy problem.
Yeah.
But I broke it down. You know how I am. It's that we have a problem with the whole idea of race. That's and gender and all that. All these I don't know what you call them, human made up things, religion and race and ethnicity and all that. You take those away, there's no problems.
Yeah, but here's what you're not, Clarence. Here's what you're not acknowledging. They are not human. They are human made up things, and that they are constructs. But they have been around in one form or another since humans, crawled out of the sea. And it's because humans have a need, apparently, to make sense of the world. And one of the ways they do that is by creating, tribes, groups. This is where I belong. This is who identities. And then seeing those who are not in their group as a threat. It's as basic. That's why we can't get anywhere.
But here's, think about the Romans. They had their society.
What about them?
But they had their society. But as soon as they conquered you, you were a Roman. No matter what color skin you were, no matter how tall you were, you know what I mean? No, nothing. You were just a Roman. So I said the first thing humanity came up with was humanity. Then everything else is underneath that. That's they came up with these tribes, because there's only one tribe, and that's all the way. That's the only way you have to think about it. There's literally one tribe.
You can't battle human nature, and human nature.
What are you talking about?
Human nature is triumphant right now. That's why we're all, running for cover.
But you're going for the fight part. The conquer, fight part of human nature, but it's also the cooperation part of human nature. And
all right,
they're both there. All you got to do is let one, be in the forefront. There's fighting, but there's fight and flight, but there's also that. What is it? It begins with an A. I can't think of it. Altruism and cooperation. That's how humans survive.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah, they're both there.
You're right. I tend to be. I look at them. Hey, do you mind? Can I just No, you're right. I want to thank. I've got the quote that I was looking for. You got to hear this. This is a direct quote from not Gosar. It's the brilliant Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert.
Oh, how could you not get those two confused? Okay.
I can't imagine. You can understand. Anyway, he was complaining bitterly about how everybody is against Republicans, a.k.a. white men, right? Mm-hmm. White men are the most tortured folks in the universe. So he said, here's the quote. If you're a Republican, you can't even lie to Congress or lie to an FBI agent, or they're coming after you.
Yeah. but you know what? But that really, because I heard the quote, and I said, that is so telling, of that above the law, I'm better than everybody else. Yeah. That is literally, that's his belief system. He really believes that he is beyond,
I know.
That kind of
it's
reproach.
Beyond belief. Yeah, I want to thank Ruth. Ruth, thank you for sending that to me. No, that's one of those things. Oh my God! See, this is why we're finished. He really did not think that was something funny. He said, or outrageous, or like mind blowing, unbelievable.
But him thinking it is one thing, and enough people listening to him and saying, yeah, that's right, agreeing and voting for him, that's a whole nother level of who knows what.
Well, see, but it goes hand in hand with white men thinking they are the most victimized group right now. That in and of itself is an absurdity. But they believe that. And that's what's fueling all of this insanity right now.
Yeah, it's the loss or the perceived loss of their perceived superiority. Yeah, exactly.
Right. And taking away women's reproductive rights is actually, then when one thinks about it, a very actually predictable response. Oh, yeah? I'm not privileged anymore? Watch what I do to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, right. They're used to controlling women's bodies, and dark people, and anybody. they've always been on top.
And you know what's sad about it is that their fear of competition and all that stuff is telling that they really have super low self-esteem. You know,
Total.
That's what it is.
Well, no, it's called imposter syndrome. They, you know, if everything's always been handed to them, they must think they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
What was that word? What was that word again?
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's going to be way too much of that on Facebook now because I'm going to look it up and study it.
No, it is. It's imposter syndrome. It's when a lot of people have it. I just was reading Viola Davis's autobiography, and she mentions imposter syndrome when she found herself acting with Meryl Streep and fearing that, you know, what am I doing here with Meryl Streep? You know, that you feel that you feel unworthy and you feel someone's going to find you out.
I'm sorry. This because it's one of those things that I can't relate to. And I had a conversation with some friends from high school. We had dinner, and the one said, I tell them the Ed Rendell story, Clarence. You know, it's when I was at, you know, it's back in like 2004 at some kind of function with Ed Rendell, standing in line. You know, he was
former governor of Pennsylvania and former head of the Democratic Party, right?
Yes. And people were standing in line to shake his hand. And when I get up, he puts out his hand, and I act like I'm going to shake it, but I walk around him and shake his securities guy. I said, thank you for, you know, protecting the governor. And I begin to walk away, right? And the governor like laughs, says, get back over here, you know. And you know Tom Kovacs, right? Well, Tom was there,
yes,
but you know, they couldn't believe it. But my attitude since I was a little kid, he's just some guy. You know, he might be governor of Pennsylvania, but to me, he's some guy.
So you were putting him in his place.
I'm not putting him in his place. I didn't. If it was anybody, I would have done that to anybody because.
Okay, did he laugh? He laughed.
Oh yeah, he laughed. Yeah, but I never thought of him because he's the governor, and it came to my head while I was standing in line to do that joke. So I did it.
Yeah.
It never, you know, that's it. And the funny thing is, when you're talking about your son calling you Lynn Cullen, that's funny because in Pennsylvania, I mean in Pittsburgh, you are Lynn Cullen. You're not Lynn.
Right.
And he's making fun of that. You're not Mom. You're Lynn Cullen. And he's making fun of that. I cracked up with it. I said, that is exactly something I would do. I'd be calling my mom Lynn Cullen, making fun of the fact that everywhere we went when I was a kid, ooh, it's Lynn Cullen. Look, it's Lynn Cullen.
That's right.
I love you. And he's making fun of that. And I was like, it's exactly something I would do.
Well, my mother said you thought that my son and you were kindred souls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my mother told me when I was a little boy that nobody is better than you, and you're no better than anybody else. So I treat everybody exactly as if they were just, you know, could be a bum on the street or a governor of Pennsylvania. I don't care. I'm going to mess with you.
Well, that's good. That's great. Hey, Clarence, thanks for the call. Always good to hear.
Thank you.
Always good to hear from you.
I feel like an imposter there because I'm really not that funny.
All right, out of here.
I enjoy it.
Out of
here.
Okay, all right. Okay, bye.
Bye. So here's one of the things that is in the news, Suze, that I found that is not something horrific. Did you see that Turkey, the country, has applied to the United Nations? The United Nations has already agreed to this. So I just want to tell you that Turkey is not the name of the country anymore.
Yeah, they changed it to
Türkiye. It's very much like it, but it's Turkiye, Türkiye. That's the name of Turkey. Just telling you. And
well,
get a lot.
It's no different than telling us that after all these years we pronounced Kiev wrong. You know, that we accepted someone else's word, namely their oppressors, for how to pronounce that word. And the Ukrainians pronounced it Kiev. Yes.
Kiev. Yeah, but Okay, so it turns out they want Türkiye. Erdogan has always been bugged by the fact that his country's name was anglicized to Turkey because, because as he said, well, he didn't say this, but Turkey is, if you look in the dictionary, it's often a stupid thing, a silly thing, or it's a bird. Right.
Right, and the bird is a stupid, silly thing. I mean, if you've ever had a turkey walking up your driveway, you will realize that
not the brightest.
No.
So, Türkiye, I just want to tell you that's what it is. Now, it's going to take us a long time to get that straight. And I was trying to think of other countries that we have learned to call by another name. And I was doing that right before the show started. And the only ones I came up with, and I know there's a million of them, is Myanmar, which was Burma, I believe. Right?
Right.
Was Myanmar Burma? And Zimbabwe, which was Rhodesia, actually named after a British, guy, Rhodes.
Right.
Rhodesia. So I think Africa's got to be filled
Africa's
with
got a ton of them.
But think of some. I can't think of any now.
There's more in the East.
Well, even Iran was Persia, right?
Right.
So, but little by little, we do,
we learn to say it right. I do remember wondering several times during the course of my life, how come Turkey was Turkey? It had to be something else, because that didn't make any sense to me.
But it's close. What their real name is Türkiye. So you can see how Türkiye would be anglicized to Turkey. It's not that far off. But it reminded me of a story from my early days in television, which I probably told. But can I tell it real fast?
Sure. Sure.
When I first was, I was the weekend anchor lady in Madison, Wisconsin, and I did everything but sweep up the studio after. I was the sole reporter, the anchor, the this, the that. I don't know. I had to do it all. I produced the show, and wrote the show, and I had to. In those days, we didn't have the kind of technology that would allow, for chyrons, things to be stuck on the screen and stuff. If you wanted something, behind you on the or to the side of you as you were anchoring to illustrate a story, you had to literally go through this file thing and find a slide. And then you had to give the slides to the producer, the director of the show, who would, then put the slide up when you were doing the story. Well, this day, there was some story about Turkey. I'm going to assume it was like maybe a earthquake, something like that. So I pulled the Turkey slide. I did and when I was doing this serious Turkey story, thousands dead in earthquake in Turkey, over my right shoulder was a Thanksgiving turkey. All nice and brown and looking like really good, legs, just headless and legs up in the air. And that was on the screen. So you can imagine at home. I mean, people were just roaring, laughing.
Or gasping in horror, right?
No, I think it had to have been funny. But I had not looked. I mean, I hadn't looked to see what the slide was. I just assumed it was like a map. But there it was, a turkey. And that's what, so, Erdogan saying, I don't want to have this happen anymore. It just made Oh, shut up. It made perfect sense to me. It's about time. Let's see. We got some another. Okay. She also Marjorie Taylor Green also thinks martial law is MAR, like a person's name.
Marshall. Yeah, right, Marshall.
Right. Well, I remember when Vietnam, I first started hearing about Vietnam, and it was, I guess it was when the French were there, not us. And I heard the term, guerrilla warfare. Well, what do you think I thought? And I can't be alone there either.
No, of course.
I mean, it was in the jungles of Vietnam. I was thinking, God, they're battling guerrillas. Chris wants to know, have you or Susan heard anything about Putin having cancer, or was it just a hopeful untruth? Oh, listen,
everybody said that.
Have you noticed it? Yeah.
They've done cancer, they've done Parkinson's, they've done, all sorts of things.
It's wishful thinking.
Yeah, right. It could be that I'm sticking pins in a doll. You never know. Yeah.
Nobody knows anything. Ellen's come up with another country that changed. Okay, Burkina Faso used to be Upper Volta.
Well, I would have missed that totally.
Yeah, I would have too. I didn't. I mean, I do know Burkina Faso. I mean, but I didn't know it was Upper Volta. So there you go. Let's see. Harry has sent me something. Oh, this is from Joseph Campbell. How do you feel about Joseph Campbell? You have any thoughts?
I don't even know. You're going to have to remind me who he is. Yeah.
Well, I don't know that much about him, except he seems to be a guy that a lot of people look to as a sage, and I've seen some things he's written which I think, oh yeah, that's smart, and other things which I think are a little. I don't know. I don't. I have no. Well, I
don't know who he is, and I tend not to, anymore. Just I don't read a lot of,
Yeah, but I think he might even be dead by now. I mean, well, anyway, he wrote this, and it seems to me the men's movement, when men tried to get a little more comfortable with their feminine side, that they did listen to Joseph Campbell. So whatever. Anyway, and for those of you who are really into Joseph Campbell, who are screaming now at me, don't I'm
or
sorry.
Me because I don't know.
Tuned in. Okay, so here it is. The warrior's approach is to say yes to life, yes to it all. Oh, so I guess he thinks the warrior's a good thing? Okay, I'll just shut up and read. Participate joyfully in the sorrows of the world. We cannot cure the world of sorrows, but we can choose to live in joy. This is how to get through the current state of the world. When we talk about settling the world's problems, we're barking up the wrong tree. The world is perfect. It's a mess. It has always been a mess. We are not going to change it. Our job is to straighten out our own lives. All right. I don't know.
Well, you know what? I fundamentally disagree. That's how the Republicans keep you from doing anything. This is the way it's supposed to be. Nothing you do will work, so just sit down and clean up your own lawn. Bullshit.
Okay, Susan doesn't like Joseph Campbell. There you go.
I mean, just because he doesn't have there's something to be said for being grateful for the goodness in your life, but that shouldn't blind you to things that aren't good and that do need work, and get off your ass and do it. This be joyful and optimism with no real reason for optimism is bullshit. And so no, that thing that you just wrote me had the hair just has the hair on the back of my neck standing up.
We can tell.
Ugh.
I want to let the hair on the back of your neck lay back down. Okay.
Okay.
Well, actually, I want to lay back down and then rise up again for something not as important. Okay, not as important. I have another not as important. Susan, I hope you realize that when you're on, I go out of my way to find things that won't make you go nuts. I do.
Well, but pay attention to the world in which we live. This is all rather, Go ahead.
Yeah, I know.
I said it once. See, like that.
Okay. So let's see. I came upon this, and I came upon two things about Disney, and boy, they blew me away. One, it turns out that there's a thing called, I'll let you guys look this up. It is the most cringe-worthy thing, emblematic of America in its decline that you'll ever see. It's just go to it, storyliving.disney.com. storyliving.disney.com. You know what that is, Susan? It is a community being built.
Oh, of that are made up of little Disney houses.
No. Just wonderful little. It'll look like but it's going to be where you can live your story, right. Where everything. It's just bullshit marketing. It's just crapola. It is beyond belief, and it's got the Disney name associated with it, and nothing is called what a house is not a house; it's some other name. The people who it is the most. I have never read anything that cringified me more. And somebody responding to it said that there are people who literally live their lives because of sort of Disney principles,
Right.
And listen to this. This is something that someone posted, I don't know on what. This is a woman who had a wedding and who is terribly hurt that the many people who went to her wedding were pissed off. I am going to read what she wrote.
Oh, wait a minute. I think I know what this is. Go ahead.
Here it is.
So twice.
That's okay. The issue arose about a month and a half ago when my aunt started posting on Facebook about how disappointed she was with the whole ordeal, and a few guests sided with her. Background. My fiance and I are huge Disney fans, and we travel to Disney World as much as we can throughout the year. Disney is such an important part, not only to us, but also our marriage. The issue was with our decision to not offer catering services or bar services at our wedding, due to routing the money towards having a Minnie and Mickey appearance at our special day. The cost to have both Minnie and Mickey for a good chunk of time, 30 minutes. The cost of having Mickey and Minnie appear for 30 minutes at the wedding was almost exactly what our parents had allotted for our catering budget. So we scheduled the appearance. And during our first dance and our wedding photos, foregoing serving food. So there were plenty of facilities at the venue where people could have eaten. My parents were still very supportive of us, but everyone else is being passive aggressive about it on Facebook.
Right, they didn't feed their guests.
No, she had so much money, she could either feed the guests or have Mickey and Minnie show up for 30 minutes. I mean, it was a no-brainer. Apparently.
Well, of course it was. No, it's pretty amazing the things that people do. Well, it's the whole wedding thing,
Oh, my God almighty, unbelievable.
It was one of the good things about a pandemic. Do you know how much money? I mean, it did almost, you put a lot of folks out of work, but boy,
a
the
lot
money
of people were, I got saved. Yeah. So Roger writes, there's been a lot of talk about raising the minimum age and the minimum wage. The minimum age to purchase semi-automatic weapons from 18 to 21. Yeah. Somebody, Bette Midler pointed out, Susan, that if you go in and try to buy Sudafed at the drugstore.
Right. That's true.
Because, there's a chance you could be using them to cook meth. And so you got to jump through hoops left, right, and center. But you want a semi-automatic at a moment's notice and you're 18 years old, no problem. Okay, so here is Roger's idea. Measure testosterone levels. If it's over 400, no gun for you. No matter your gender, race, or age, it makes you not think straight and contributes to aggression. Every potential gun purchaser can pick out their weapon of choice, which will be mailed in 2 to 3 weeks after the feds do a criminal and psychological background check and check your testosterone levels. He says, I know that's going to happen. I believe in God, Santa Claus, and the Easter Bunny. Well, I saw somebody saying raise the minimum age to 95.
Right. If you're going to raise the minimum age, then why not 95? Right.
Right. Let's just, cut to the chase and raise it to 95. Okay.
Well, yeah. Okay. So I'm going to get serious just for a second, because I really do think that when we all say you can't come up with a reasonable law, I really think you can. I don't think it's unreasonable to say, no, we're going to do a buyback of all assault rifles. And if you don't turn yours in and it is used by you or anyone else in the commission of a felony, it's an automatic 15-year prison sentence. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, we either love our children or we don't. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And it's not that difficult to craft rational legislation. For some reason, we think it is, but it's not. It's just that people on a certain side won't vote for even the most rational. And I don't know why.
Because they're not rational. They're not rational. The word rational is the giveaway there. We've already determined that they're not living in a rational.
I know. I still think there should be more voters that are rational than voters that are irrational, and they should be able to coalesce around what is becoming a really serious group of issues that truly are impinging on our very rights to life and our liberty. Period.
My freedom to own
a gun, I know, is far greater than mine or my child to live.
Children.
I know.
Okay, and there was the Washington Post today. A 2-year-old shot and killed his father.
Well, probably deserved it. He had the gun.
Well, no, a 2-year-old. No, the mother has been charged with negligence. She's in jail. So the 2-year-old is essentially orphaned, and the 5-year-old who ratted on his brother, by the way.
Of course he did.
How? Now wait, if you're going to have loaded guns,
Timmy did it.
Yeah. Can a 2-year-old? I mean, is it that much of a hair trigger? It was a Glock.
Could be. It clearly wasn't locked, and
yeah.
At Stanford, did you see that Stanford finally? I don't know how they managed to be allowed to do it, but they finally actually completed a study that proved, or seemed to prove, that you were at least 50% less safe if you lived in a house with a yeah. And particularly for women.
That's been known, hasn't it?
Well, no, this was actually a study that followed a certain group of people that had lived a certain portion of their lives without a gun in the house, and then lived a certain portion of their lives with a gun in their house. Took them many years to complete this study, and the results were you were at least 50% more likely to die if you had a gun. If you had a gun in the house. And it wasn't because people were breaking down the doors and coming to get you. You were a lot of it was suicide, but the second biggest thing was husbands blowing away their wives. No,
but suicide, Susan. A lot of people would be alive if there weren't a gun.
That's right.
When they were despondent and decided to kill themselves.
Naomi Judd.
If a gun. Well, yeah, exactly. A lot of people would be alive. So the suicide rate is sky high, in part also because of guns in the house. Yeah. I mean, but facts be damned. I mean, people know what they know, and they don't, they just seem incapable of giving anybody a chance to change their point of view. Clarence writes, I like Joseph Campbell, but I agree with Susan on that quote. Well, I don't know. The things I've come upon with Joseph Campbell have always either made me think, well, that's nice, that's good. And on the other hand, sometimes have made me think, I don't know. Beth writes, Lynn, this is the first I heard of this Mensa couple choosing Mickey and Minnie over feeding their guests. Well, I'm glad to have been the purveyor of this wonderful story to you, Beth. Two of the guests, Beth writes, must have thought, we could have rented the costumes, done an hour, and that would have been our wedding gift. And then we would have gotten fed by these morons.
Well, and I think the whole budget for feeding them was $4,000, and if I remember correctly, that doesn't feed a whole lot of people at Disneyland for a wedding.
Well, maybe I don't. I mean, I was a little surprised that Mickey and Minnie for a half hour would cost as much as feeding your guests, but we don't know how big the wedding.
Well, if you read, this is, I don't know where you saw this, but this is from the Reddit column, Am I the Asshole? And people write in with, and so the bride wrote in, Am I the asshole? I mean, and the assembled hive, as it were, confirmed with great alacrity that yes, indeedy, she was the asshole.
She was such an asshole, she didn't even know she shouldn't even ask the question.
Well, they usually don't. I mean, they're horrible things. There's like the bride that's getting married, and her bridesmaid's boyfriend wants to propose at the wedding, so asks to give a toast, but doesn't tell the bride that he wants to give a toast, and is so insistent when she says no, because she's not having toast, she's just having the parents, and blah, blah, so no. And he finally said, I want to propose to her. And then she said, what, at my wedding? During the speech? She said, well, double no. And he said, well, I'm going to do it anyway. And she said, then you're uninvited. You won't be invited. And he said, well, you have to invite me because my girlfriend will get mad at you and she's standing up at your wedding. So the bride just goes and tells the girlfriend.
Oh, my God.
And now they're both mad at her.
What is...
Everybody wrote in and reassured the bride that she wasn't the asshole. But
okay, yeah. Right.
How do you explain that? Get better friends.
There are so many people who just have no idea just no idea anymore.
No, that it's that
what is appropriate.
That selfishness. That it really isn't Susan, all about you. Susan. We're trying to talk at the same time. Sorry, sister.
I know, but tell me this: how when did, and this is a little, I'm going off a little bit on a tangent here because we are aware that the world is full of people who don't know what is appropriate. Well, I mean, we're living in a world in which people who are a bit bent out of shape. I talked yesterday about this thing in New York where a guy, because he didn't get enough packets of duck sauce with his order from a Chinese restaurant, put a bullet through one of the employees.
Oh, my God.
Killed him.
That makes me sick.
People do not have any sense of what is acceptable, what is appropriate, and well, no, I forgot that I was gonna go. Dang it!
And it was good too.
What happened? It was. See, I was diverging a little bit, and then I diverged from my diverging. If you let those participles dangle too far, they lose their grip. I'm just telling you. Well, where did this start? What were we talking about?
Okay, no fair.
So you don't even have a clue. Well,
because I started thinking about your problem, and now I lost it.
Okay, we were talking about the idiot. Which idiot?
No, we were talking. Am I the asshole?
Oh, I got it. So when did proposing to somebody, which is to me, ultimate private, intimate act, become a public event?
I don't know. And by the way,
you
take what you get.
Awful. I find it awful.
I got a hypothetical.
A poor guy, what?
I got a hypothetical.
Instead of a proposal. Well, you know, I got an offhand remark walking down a street in New York City. Well, I mean, do you think we should get married? And I, with giving it no thought at all, said, yeah, I guess. So that was my proposal.
Well, I got, if I asked you, what would you say? And I looked at her, I said, is that a proposal? And I said, well, if you asked me, I guess I'd say yes.
Yeah.
And then he looked at me sort of bewildered and said, are we engaged now? I said, yep.
God almighty. But that's preferable to these shows that people put on now or feel they have to one up.
I don't know. I mean, you know my husband. He could have thrown a good show.
He could have thrown a good show, but no. It's private. I cannot friggin'
it wouldn't have been as good to be and it wouldn't have been as good a story as my hypothetical.
I think that's true. Well, he was a little uncertain. He was
trying to talk me into giving up a job in another city and giving us another year to figure it out. And I said, you got to make me a better offer.
Okay.
That was the whole conversation. That was the exact conversation.
Okay. So, okay. Well, it was a good.
It was a good deal. It was a good deal for all concerned. No trouble.
But then, I mean, these cringeworthy things where some poor schmo, does this public proposal and the poor woman
does no.
Yes.
That happened on one of those awful reality shows. Aboard some yacht, and they're off on this beach luncheon, and they've got and everybody's watching, and he proposes, and she goes, "Oh, no."
Oh my God, how awful.
So not only did it fail, but it's going to rerun endlessly on Bravo.
Oh my God. People, honest to God, help us. All right. Well, Suze, thank you. We did a lot more laughing
we did
than
it.
I thought we would.
Well, when in doubt, write this down. When in doubt, always use "Am I the asshole?" They're the greatest awful stories.
And where is it on? I don't even know.
Reddit.
Reddit.
Well, it just shows up in my feed on various things. Anyway.
Oh, okay. So, okay. Listen, we got to talk.
I know. Are you around?
Yeah, I'm around.
Okay, bye.
You could call. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye. Hey, guys. Yeah, okay. All right.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.